Howdy, Dave Smart here. It's my beginning of a action meeting. I am one of those really crazy, disorganized artists, but people ask me how I do what I do, and honestly, I gotta start video recording because I don't really know how I do what I do. But anyway, it's kind of developed over time. In the beginning, I just used to basically just start moving stuff until it looked right. But now I've gotten a little better. So basically, I took one image of this girl about to hit a softball, and I wanted to make a three-peat, the whole follow through. And how my artwork works. If I see something that I think is interesting, or I think it's like an amazing moment, like my friend posted something on Facebook about just an amazing hit that his daughter had, and that how well she did it, and how well it was executed. So I wanted to capture the execution. So what I did was I took that one shot and follow through. Some people do it with, I used to try to do do one and then paint the other and then paint the other. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't go well. It takes months instead of a day, which usually my paintings are now taking about a day because I just kind of honed my skill, because I never went to art school, so I never learned the basics. I didn't learn how to draw forms. I just was able to do it. So I was lucky to have the talent to do that. A lot of better technical artists than me. I am not one of them. I'm getting a lot better. But what I do is, it's how I kind of became a mixed media artist, because I draw the one, I use my focal point is to look at that one, make sure the shoulder's the same on each one. I watched the video of her swing, I saw it, and my autism kind of picked up the image and replicated it in my head. So I just do everything on the fly. But I'm trying to get better. Hopefully this will help somebody. But I like to use paint markers because they're easy. First, as a base coat, at least you can get that form down. So I did the three. So basically I just used the same form. I made sure the shoulders are in the same spot, the knees are in the same spot, the hips are in the same spot, but I knew her hip was going to be lifted on this back one, because that's when she does the swing through. Now, I wasn't a big sports guy. I played baseball and stuff. I was a martial arts guy growing up. So, I did learn a lot about form then. But the funny thing is like, I do a lot of sports figures and stuff, but it's probably because something in my brain that's, if it works right anyway, because a lot of it works wrong, picked up on the fact of level. You need a level line in everything. People are going to enjoy art that has symmetry in it. We are attracted to symmetrical things. Science has proven that we are attracted to certain types because there's a certain radius, or it's kind of like the golden ratio. There's a certain ratio in our brains and our eyes that find another human attractive, or something. We find like a person with wider eyes, shorter eyes, whatever. We're attracted to that because our minds hone in on that ratio. And it doesn't really matter, about anything else. We're attracted to things that are level, things that are straight, things that are even. And if you're trying to sell art, you may want to make sure the stuff is even. That's a big part of my deal. Luckily, I came from a family that has a natural level line in our brain. My brother can drive a Bobcat like through a freaking Marine training camp and then pick up a dime with the payloader. I can draw things that, you know, I never knew how to do before. I don't use stick figures, I just do it. But because I do it like that, I've had to adopt certain ways of doing things that make my way of doing things a little easier, because, you know, technical people do it totally different. They don't do it with marker, they do it with pencil. I do everything with marker pretty much. And that, in the end, that can be pretty crazy if you aren't using the right paints or anything like that, because you got to cover up lines and do all this crazy stuff. But I finally, you know, I have my level line. I usually just put 2 notches. Actually, I don't. I'm just saying that I do. I put 2 little notches here. It's a good idea to do that. Put a halfway line here and a halfway line here on all your paintings. I don't do it. I just said that because I just do it naturally. I'm gifted in some things, but I'll tell you what, there's a lot of things I'm not gifted in, and a lot of people can tell you all about it. So what I do is, like I said, I get all the basic colors in. I like to do things fast. That's just a bad part of me. So I've adopted ways to do it fast. I like to use Multile markers because they're the best for me. I've used a lot of other brands out there. These have the best tips, the best interchangeable, the ones that you can leave out the longest without a cap on, because what am I horrible at? Putting caps on anything. I'm a painter. Horrible at putting covering paint up. It's just an awful thing to me, because I'm always in the job. That's all I care about. How I learned how to paint art is on the wall. I mean, after I first started painting, I pretty much sold my first mural within weeks of picking up a brush for the first time. I've never really gotten a chance to practice. All my stuff is sold. All my stuff is on somebody's walls. I'm not complaining. I'm not gloating. It's just how I develop. And I'll tell you what, I starved for a long time, because there's a lot of my customers out there that will tell you, yeah, Dave learned on my wall, all right. He was there for 2 years. But crazy thing about art is, well, you get away with it, but it doesn't put food on the table at all. I've slept on a lot of scaffolds, and I've skipped a lot of meals, and I've worked in restaurants. So what does that tell you? Done a lot of restaurants, but my way of doing art though is to, how I'm showing you right now. I get the basic colors in, I get the figure in, I do my background afterwards. It's retarded, I know. Doesn't make much sense. But that's where the paint markers come in again. Because one, I'll tell you what, I like to do my stuff on the go. I like to go places, I like to move, and I like to, have some of the best of everything. But I like to have a lot of different colors, and you know what? You can't do that with a brush and paint. It gets messy, and I'll tell you what, I'm a good mixer. I'm not a consistent mixer by any stretch of the mean, because I'll be putting a yellow and a red together, and then a squirrel will come by, and I can't remember how many parts I put in. I don't use a guide. I can't do that. I don't have the brain mentality to even have a guide with me. Because if people who know me, that have me work for them, I bring everything in the kitchen sink. Everything. A guide is just one more damn thing. And that's, neither here nor there. But anyway, use the stuff that's out there. People gave me crap about using paint markers. You know what? Screw them. It's just the way I do it. They do it their way. That's great. I'm glad that they have the mental brain power to do it that way. I put out a hell of a lot more art doing it this way. I like how my art came out. It's developed my style. I have somewhat gotten technical because of just doing it so much. How I learned how to do sports figures, I have no idea. How I got into the whole sports thing, it was just by ending up doing a couple jobs that wanted me to do some college sports stuff. And, I did one so well that they got sued. It was great. But, I like to research stuff. I like to find out I like to find out as much about the project that I'm doing as possible. I mean, people wonder why I ask them what their social security numbers are when they got married. I do ask people a lot when they got married. I ask for specific dates. Sometimes I put dates in my painting. Sometimes I put a watch or something, I remember this one, I was painting this clock for somebody, and I had as many gears as they had kids, and they had 9. So it was supposed to be set to one date, and the husband wanted it set to one date and said that he checked with his wife, and it was a national day of mourning that he wanted to put on this clock in his restaurant. He said that his wife, So, no, it took me a long time I had, made this clock with all these gears for all their kids, and he had told me one date that was, a pretty significant date. It was 9/11, so I had my uncle cut steel that he had from the World Trade Center on his lot, because I was going to set the clock to 9/11, because that was the whole deal. It was like a New York pizzeria thing. And he didn't slide that through with his wife. You Mediterranean people, I don't know about you. I didn't know that much about, dealing with couples and stuff, but I've learned to talk to both the husband and the wife. Let's put it that way. When she found out that it was set to 9/11, that clock immediately got set to his favorite day on earth, the day that they got married. So, you wanted a whole theme like that? But anyway, just what I'm saying is, because I only talked to one person and I didn't get enough evidence, I had this steel cut by my Uncle Bob, who's a metal fabricator, for this clock. I had painted everything around it for that specific time, because those gears were going to be across it, and I painted the shadow underneath. But because I didn't follow through with my proper commission and find out everything I could, I didn't find out what the wife wanted the clock set to. She didn't even think about it time. So, could have set it to the day that the restaurant opened. I had it on 9/11. I found out that they were married at 9/29. Or married on September 29th. Only had to move that gear a little bit. It's great. Sal had to look at that every single day, and I'm not talking about Sal and Paul, somebody else. But anyway, I digress. So, always find out as much information about your art subject as possible. Find out every detail you can. Some people are better at that. They just paint something. I don't. I like it to have meaning. There's a lot better artists than me out there. Ton. But when you go down to the depths and you go, hey, why is there 3? I could have done 4. Why did I do 3? In this case, I have absolutely no idea. But usually, I have an idea. I should have done 10, because the guy's company has 10 in it. But that would be a lot of people. That would kind of look like, the Terminator when you get shot and he turns in 9,000 different people. But, so that's what I do. So then I go through, I get the imaging, and then I'm gonna put back on it.